Today in the UK, there's still only a small number of brands designing adaptive wear. Unhidden Clothing by Victoria Jenkins is one of them.
Like if there was any adaptive wear, it was aimed at old people. It was usually designed by carers, which don't get me wrong, like there's obviously, that was a need and they were fulfilling it, but like there wasn't a younger option. There was nothing to do with really fashion. It was more just function and practicality. I think it just doesn't cross a lot of these brands' minds. And even though they've started to use disabled models, there's still very little of them sort of going, well, we'll use a disabled model, but we're not going to make clothes for a disabled model. So there's just that kind of disconnect in the size of the market and the amount of people that need that kind of help.
By making small adjustments to clothing, Victoria's designs provide for people with a range of disabilities.
So these are the women's wheelchair trousers. So they actually have an invisible zip either side so that either the carer or the person themselves can get in a bit easier. But then this front opening doesn't actually really open, it's concealed, but you can adjust the size here so that if you bloat or you move about during the day, you can be more comfortable. And there's elastic in the back for the same reason. So it's kind of the whole point of everything was to make it, they are hidden adaptations even though we're called Unhidden. So it's like, so that you don't notice that things have been changed.
This is a world that was not built for people with disabilities. From what we wear, to what we drive, to where we live, to how we shop.
There are more clothing lines for dogs than for people with disabilities. The UK is home to 10 million disabled people, yet only a handful of brands provide adaptive clothing. But with such a big market, why is there not more clothing for every body?
My life as I once knew it changed really dramatically when I was first diagnosed. I changed the clothes that I wore, big and baggy clothing just to cover up all the tubes and lines and drains that I now lived with.
Leanne lives with a connective tissue disorder and various other chronic conditions. Before a diagnosis, she was a model and loved shopping. Now, she struggles to find clothing suited to her needs.
It's limited, it's the styles, it's not always stylish. It's like, it's not always trendy, and why shouldn't we be able to look nice and wear stylish clothing? Everybody should be able to look beautiful and feel good in the clothing. So as somebody that needs to wear that sort of clothing, we haven't got to go somewhere special. At the moment, it's still sort of us and them. So we're still like second-class citizens, really. They don't think about disabled, adaptive clothing. I haven't seen it in any of like the shops that I love to go in. If we could see adaptive clothing in shops on the high street, that would be brilliant.
Apart from more adaptive clothing, Leanne also has other hopes for the high street.
It's very exclusive at the moment, adaptive clothing. So anything like that is expensive, which it's going to be. But it would be good if we could get high street prices for adaptive clothing.
My name is Moeed and I live with Crohn's disease and a stoma bag. As a result of the stoma surgery, obviously my fashion needs have changed quite a lot. I tend to look for things that are, again, a bit more baggy, not so skinny. I remember transitioning from like super skinny jeans. I used to wear them at the start of like having my stoma journey, and it just didn't really work because the waistline is so tight and the stoma bag hangs below the waistline. So when you eat food, obviously it fills up. However, you can't really get smart clothing or maybe like jeans and stuff like that that have elasticated waistbands that are, you know, allow me to potentially like feel a bit more comfortable.
For Moeed, elasticated trousers from adaptive clothing brands such as Unhidden Clothing make a huge difference.
So when I put them on, I was like, yo, I could like literally wear these every day. I could see myself wearing them, which is not something I'd ever do. So, you know, trying those on and seeing how comfortable they are was nuts. You know, I was like, yo, this is actually real. You know, people are doing stuff like this to help, you know, me wear these kind of things and, you know, feel more comfortable.
So how far away are we from change?
There's still a long way to go to make it fully inclusive, because it's still not, so definitely not.
I suppose we just have to kind of like push it ourselves and make them think about doing it, because right now they're not really hearing us, right?
I think it will change. It is becoming more inclusive and it's starting to be considered finally. I think there is, maybe this year now that we've had this pause and this break, there is now that sort of realisation